Welcome to another episode of Rebel Roots. Super excited about my guests, and we haven't really had a one-on-one time together, but we've been running into each other quite a lot, I would say the last 6 months. But my guest today is Vicky, and I just was joking with her. I said, I'm going to let her say her last name because I know I'm going to botch it. So
That's totally fine. I hear this a lot. My name is Vicky Janowski. I'm the editor of WILMA magazine, also the Wilmington Business Journal as well. What we've been running into each other lately has to do with WILMA and also our women's leadership program, WILMA's Leadership Initiative, which I co-founded 10 years ago this year.
which we're going to talk about the whole story there. And we had, you started with your, I guess, coworker, Maggie. Were you guys friends before that or?
Yeah, so we started 10 years ago. I was editor still, so I was on the editorial side. Maggie Apel, who started this with me, she was on the sales and events side. And when this idea kind of percolated about WILMA magazine doing something around women's leadership, we both kind of raised our hands. We were just both personally interested in it. It wasn't something that was intended to be for either one of our positions. They were kind of looking like, maybe outside. And she was just really interested in it. I was really interested in it. We come from two different sides of the publications. I'm from the editorial side. She's from the sales side. So we're coworkers, but we don't work day to day together. It just decided to both of us working together on it to create it, to try to envision what this could do and try to move the needle in Wilmington and our whole region, Brunswick and Pender County too, just to see what we could do to help women meet these leadership goals and create a network and create some connections. And that's what we did. So we both did it together. It worked out great in terms of her strengths and my strengths. And we're very similar on certain things like our drive and our ideas, but we're also very different when it comes to other things too. So we were just a great team to put together, and it's been 10 years now.
I know. I cannot believe that.
Neither can I.
When I was listening to Maggie's story up on stage, because she just recently left the program completely.
Yeah, so she left our company to go just another career path. She wanted to do something else. She's been doing working at WILMA, the Business Journal, for years and years, even longer than I have. So she wanted to try something new with our full support. So it was very bittersweet, obviously, to see her go because, we kind of created this baby together. And we always joked about, being just our ride or dies on it. And it was kind of scary to do it without her input on the side as well. But she's doing great. She's still in Wilmington. She's still involved in the program. She's just on the other side. So
now she gets to experience something that you guys created together, which I think is pretty cool.
So now she gets to serve as a mentor instead of, being on the
I love that though.
the side of programming and stuff.
All right. So take me back. Were you always interested in writing, or go back to the early days in school and tell me what kind of kid you were growing up? Did you raise hell with your parents, or were you a rule follower? Give me all the deets.
I will say, I think some people might be surprised by this. They've mentioned it. I was actually a very quiet child, which I think is just interesting, especially seeing my two daughters, because of the amount of emceeing or talking on stage that I do now. People think that's kind of funny. But yeah, I was pretty quiet, pretty shy.
Did you have siblings?
I have an older brother who's not quiet, not shy.
So maybe he took all your thunder the whole childhood.
So I would never have pictured being, on stage and as an adult. So I was very happy writing. But I did enjoy writing even as a kid. That was, my more favorite subject in reading and writing. I did not expect to go into journalism though. I went off to school really thinking I would go probably into business school or law school. Was really, if you had to say at that point, what are you going to major in college type thing? It wasn't going to be journalism. But I did start working at my college paper, and I always kind of, had been interested in current affairs and world politics. And so doing newspaper work every day, that was kind of where I started falling in love with what it meant to report, work on stories, talk with people, learn more, interview. And then, as I got to the end of college, it started to kind of, be clearer and clearer that this was what I wanted to do. So that was 25 years ago.
That's
Still
super
been doing
cool.
it, which is especially now, with everything, all the changes media has gone through,
Yeah.
as an industry, I still feel fortunate that I'm still able to do that as my main passion. When I moved, my now husband and I moved here from Atlanta about 15 years ago. The industry was changing, and we literally said, "Well, I'm going to do journalism as long as possible. Let's, instead of picking the paper that I want to go to, let's pick the city we want to live in, because I'll probably get laid off soon anyways."
But no,
I
that's
love
like
newspapers. So we moved here, and again, I've just been,
super
really
smart.
fortunate, and started working with the Business Journal and then WILMA. So I still get to do what
So you
my
came
main
here
passion
and
is.
I mean, you've been with just the one business journal the whole time that you've been here for 15 years?
Well, when I moved from Atlanta, I actually was working at the Star News.
Okay.
It was still owned by the New York Times at that point. And so I worked there, then became one of the city editors. And then the job for the Business Journal editor opened up. And I had some friends who were working there at the time. And that's when I moved over to there. So I just moved over just to work for the Business Journal. And the WILMA editors, just through attrition, they had left and moved away. And so I kind of entered the WILMA world,
Uh-huh.
and the magazine side of what we do. Um, and WILMA's been around for over 20 years. I mean, Joy Allen founded it long, long time ago. Um, and just, but even from the beginning, it's changed a lot in the way it looks, in the type of coverage and what's included in it. But it's always been about celebrating women in our region, and it's always been about women from different walks of life and different fields. So not just business, but like arts, nonprofits, stay-at-home parents who are just involved in
So
the
many, and
community.
I think it's so cool too because Wilmington has such amazing people in it.
Oh yeah, there's definitely no shortage
No,
of,
sure. I mean,
people to
even in the
cover.
franchise world, like how many franchises have been developed here
Mm.
and left here, And so I think Wilmington has really gave the gift to a lot of, not saying that those people didn't come with talent already, but man, the people that come out of Wilmington is just, it impresses me still to this day of how many businesses that have been developed here and then how many people are successful from here and go on. So, or they stay. A lot of people stay here too.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's just a function too of like, the type of entrepreneurs or just creatives who are drawn to living here.
It's that
One of the
sea salt
reasons,
air, right?
yeah. And I mean, that was a big reason when we were looking at coastal towns to live in. One of the edges, I'm very much pro con list. My husband is very much a lucky wherever he lands,
Uh-huh.
so we have that dynamic. But one of my things that I thought was great about here was that there's the beach, there is the coastal lifestyle, but there's also the downtown, the art scene, the things that exist in a town that aren't water dependent. So I thought that would be a great idea to have just different subcultures to be around.
No, I agree with
And
that.
I think that that's one reason why this area attracts a lot of creative people too. But
It's tons of stuff here, tons of stuff.
yeah.
All right, so what do you have a favorite news piece that you wrote or a favorite article or what was your favorite story that you ever posted?
Oh
College
gosh,
days, recent days,
there was
or something you're most proud of?
yeah, one thing that comes to mind, and it wasn't here in Wilmington. It was when I was in Augusta, Georgia, working at the newspaper there.
I love Augusta too.
Oh, that's where I actually met my soon to be much later husband. He was a photographer at the paper there, but there was he did the slow play. It was, I think, maybe 10 years later. We actually went on a date, right? But we worked at the paper there. So I was a young journalist. And one of the stories I covered, because I have a background in health and medical writing um, and reporting on that side, I followed a family. Their young son had cystic fibrosis, and it was kind of a medical story following them around, getting treatment, but also him being a little kid, playing soccer and doing all the things that little kids do. And it was following this family just of, to go through something that overwhelming of their, taking over their whole lives in terms of medical treatments. Even going to, they were being treated down in Florida. So we even followed with the family going down there. But it was a combination of that and the very humanity side of, being a family. He had siblings and, trying to do the normal things, but this was their normal. And so that one always sticks out with me just because it was an opportunity to really be able to have the time to actually tell a story over many, many, many months, and the luxury of actually spending that much time to follow, one story, one subject all the way through. And it was a combination of like all the medical treatments and advancements they were doing, but also the family humane side of it. So that one always sticks with me for some reason.
Do you have
After
a
all these
favorite
years.
subject that I mean, obviously you sound very passionate about this medical side of it, but do you have a favorite subject that you're like, oh, or is there someone that you want to write about that
Ooh,
you
that's a good
haven't yet?
question. In Wilmington.
Well, it doesn't even have to be Wilmington. Anybody
um,
else? Or you can say both.
Well, I'll say it's outside Wilmington just because it's on the top of mind. Last week I went to Chicago for our conference, Business Journals conference was in Chicago downtown. And I got the opportunity to get a ticket. It was a sold out show, but I called it last minute. But Shonda Rhimes was doing a book tour, a speaking tour.
Okay.
And so she spoke at one of those beautiful old theaters, just like how Thalian is, historic and beautiful inside. And each city she's been in, she's had a different celebrity interviewer. So I think like Serena Williams has interviewed her in one city, and this one, because it was in Chicago, Valerie Jarrett was interviewing her, who's the head of the Obama Foundation now. So she still lives there. Um, but it struck me just because of what we were talking about a minute ago. I didn't realize that she is much more and as a younger person, a very introverted writer as well. Like you don't think about that in terms
Right.
of her, the things that she's known for all the things she's done to change the industry in her industry. Um, so I just thought it was a fascinating conversation. She talked a lot about her career. She talked something about motherhood, and really just like what it's like to hustle and work that hard in Hollywood in her case, but
Yeah.
also the point of her book. It's called a Year of Yes. I hope I'm not butchering that, but it was about kind of prioritizing living life because she realized she was working so hard and writing so much that she wasn't saying yes to opportunities. So like in terms of interviewing, that would be, I think, an amazing
Yeah.
interviewer.
I
Or
love
bring her to the next like WILMA event, right? On stage.
that's
I feel like
yes.
you guys would like to hear from her too.
I agree. Yes. I um so you have kids too.
Yes.
Two?
I have two kids, two daughters.
Okay.
One's in second grade and one's in seventh grade. So we are like right smack in the middle of middle school and all the fun that comes with
All
that,
the fun.
which actually has not been that bad. It's actually, I
Girls
was
are a little bit
geared, I
more
was ready. I
wilder
was, gearing up, ready for all the middle school trauma and changes and stuff to happen. But
and nothing.
it's been, steady. There's, of course, it's middle school. It's that tween years, that teenage years, um, you have your days. Um, but overall, it's been a great experience. And then a second grader. So she's still in elementary school.
I always love to ask the moms when they come on the show too. It's like, okay, from the way that you were raised, I had my daughters on here and my mom actually was on here too. And it was kind of weird to answer that in front of my mom, but I was like, is there and my daughter is pregnant too. And I was like, is there anything that you would do differently than what I currently
Oh,
have
yeah.
raised you?
That's a brave question. I don't know if
Right.
I want to know. Like,
And I
you
was
save
like,
that for your therapist for later. That's between you and them. I don't need to know.
but I mean, coming
How you
from your
backseat
mom
there.
and
Yeah.
your parents, did you change anything?
Oh, definitely. My brother and I talk about this and joke about this. So my mom was born in Korea. She immigrated to the States
Okay.
in the 70s. And so she is very much a um, first generation immigrant business owner, and kind of what you see on the TV shows in terms of first generation immigrant parent. So and my brother and I joke about like all the stuff we do for our kids. It might be overcompensating a little,
Right.
but I mean, great mother. And it's probably where I get a lot of like my drive and work ethic from. And she was a loving mother, loving grandmother, but definitely not the kind that's gonna go to like every single like soccer practice
Right.
and this and juggle all the things and which is good. We talk about this too because I think that maybe is probably what made us all like highly more independent,
Right.
on your own for sure.
It's a fine line.
Yeah, it is. So you got that balance of that versus not hovering too much. And so anyway, I think I get where I got a lot of my independence from as well. But I think both my husband and I think we're pretty good about making priorities to be there and the extracurriculars and and, probably, and this might even be more generational than anything than cultural, but, probably talk about like the things that my daughters are comfortable saying, like in front of us and in front of him in particular, especially about when it comes to like, things changing and growing up.
Yeah.
I would have never like said at home. But I think that's a good
Same.
thing. I mean, I think that's good that that's how we're raising them, as long as we don't tip over the balance. But yeah.
That's exactly the same way. My daughters would always come, and I don't know if they did just to shock Don, with the things that they would say. And he's like, "Why are you telling me this?" And same thing. Like we just always had that open conversations, and because we never had that when I was growing up either. But I think it's everyone who comes on has almost the same answer as
Yeah,
you.
I think it's
It's
got to be
like we
generational. Yeah.
overcompensate for
For
this, and
sure.
then it's going to be our fault because they're still living with us at the
Yeah.
age of 30 or whatever.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, I
like,
try to remind myself that sometimes when I'm like, do your laundry. I'm not doing it. Won't be there when you do it
but
when
I
you're
think that's
19.
the reason why. I mean, we're probably almost same age, I would say. But
And
yeah,
how awesome our Gen Xiness is in raising the next yeah.
but I think we all have grit, and I think that I'm not saying that our parents did anything wrong because they didn't. They did the best they could in that generation, but it did make us a little bit harder, a little bit more grittier, a little bit more
Self-sufficient. Yeah,
self-sufficient,
yeah.
and you didn't have things handed to you, and you went out and got it because you wanted it, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know where we're going to end up. And you got second grader and sixth grader,
7th grade.
seventh
Yeah.
grader. So yeah. So let me know how it turns out.
Yeah. I always ask people with older kids. I'm like, well, tell me how, how it's going to turn out.
Mine turned out half and half, and my oldest turned out like she has to be punctual. She's just type A, and
The oldest daughter's.
yes, and then the younger
type.
one, nothing wrong, but she's still living with me at the 24, which is fine. I love her being there. But yeah, it's just she has a little bit more, everything will be okay, Mom. Don't worry about it. And I'm like, what do you mean don't worry about it? I'm like, at your age. And I try not to say that anymore because I hated it when my mom would say that. At
I
your
know
age.
when you hear yourself saying things
But
your mom said. Yeah.
yeah, I don't know what my theory with kids is that they come out and they're going to be whoever they're going to be.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, I feel like we're raising them basically the same. I mean, but
Right.
their personalities are coming from
Yeah,
not
it's the
us.
same way if their parents were drug addicts and they became some huge doctor, like, or if they were still in that and or their parents were wealthy as can be and became a druggie, or whatever that is. It, I just think that they come out with their own personality, and we only guide them, and they are who they are.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense or not, but
No, that makes total sense. It also takes the pressure. I think obviously, I'm not the first person to say this. We talk about this all the time. We sometimes put too much pressure on us during those motherhood years.
definitely.
Of doing everything in perfection, and of course, as we know, like social media
It's
makes
always our
everything
fault.
worse. Yeah. So yes. I've always liked the saying too, especially when they were little, like when they're learning to tie their shoes or potty training. I'm like, well, they're not going to go to college not knowing how to tie their shoes. Like it'll be fine. But one thing
And then
that's
they
fun.
became up with Velcro shoes, so we were fine
Yeah,
in
so I
that
guess
matter too.
they'll figure it out around it. But one thing that's been fun with the Wilma world is both of them, were born here in Wilmington. And so ever since they were babies, they've been around us at work. And I feel like everybody at work is very, family friendly. And so I've had them as babies, like at the Wilma show and walking them around and stuff. And then this was the first first summer where my oldest was old enough, I think, to come to our accelerator event, which
Oh,
was our
cool.
half-day women's conference that we do every summer. She came for lunch with my husband, but she got to hear, the speakers on stage. So they know what I do, and they see the
Which is super cool.
publications. But it was kind of cool for her to be able to see not only the women that were talking on stage doing their TED Talks, but, we also talked a little bit about the 10-year anniversary when we were at the event.
Yep.
So it was kind of neat for her. Hopefully by osmosis, she's getting some of that, positive
Yeah.
messaging from
Did she
strong,
come back and
independent
say anything
women.
afterwards, or
Oh, well, the other thing about
did she give you?
your kids particularly when they're in middle school, is they'll keep you real humble, real. I like having them around because everyone's always so nice when you do, especially when you do, the speaking on stage and it's 500
Right.
people, and everyone's so supportive on the WILMA side when we do these events. But your kids will be the ones that tell you, like,
Mom, you had something in your teeth the whole time.
yeah, mom, you said like a lot. So they're my biggest supporters and my biggest critics. So I love the
I love that.
balance from them. Yeah.
All right. So I have to ask you because AI is coming in. What's your prediction for the AI chat GPT? Do you have any theories on it?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Because it's kind of oh
Let me get some water.
no, you're good.
I'm trying to time my coughing so I don't mess up your question. You're going to have to answer that again.
Like going off. It's just that Instagram reel.
I don't hear it.
You don't hear it? Okay. I don't know if it was
Is the
distracting.
microphone close enough for what I'm doing?
Oh, yeah, I would have stopped you. I'm brutally honest.
Okay, I'm good. Sorry. All right. So, do you want me to answer, or do you want to re-ask it?
Where do you want us to go, Jamie?
Just go back to the answer. It's fine. I'm just taking a note for the time.
Okay.
So AI discussion's been really interesting in the media world. Obviously, there's been a lot of talk about it with, how to incorporate it within reporting in a way that's ethical. Our conference that we were just at, we were having a lot of discussion on, AI policies, making sure your readers know about that, being transparent about it. There's a lot of just on the visual side of it,
Right.
the leap that videos and photos have taken, even from this time last year, is wild.
You can't tell.
Yeah. So there's a lot of discussion around that in terms of how do you make sure that you still have a credible relationship with your readers while all this is going on. At the same time, all businesses, big and small, are learning how to incorporate AI, learning how to make it more efficient. There's one end of it that is if we can figure out how to use it on tasks that are kind of the repetitive things that we do and we report on, theory that would free up our time to do bigger stories, more in-depth stories, but we got to figure out how to do that responsibly. And I think just on the other end of it, not, being just a consumer of information and media, I mean, I'm seeing some videos and reels lately that I would not have noticed at all. I think it was funny. The
I
one
have to go to the comments.
yeah, I think the one that got everybody, right? The one that I feel like we'll look back and be like, well, that was a tipping point was, there was a bunch of bunnies jumping on a trampoline and it just looked like a bunch of cute bunnies jumping on trampoline. And then it was like, oh, there was some stories about this was AI generated and everyone was like, whoa, because before things were so distorted, you could tell,
Yeah.
things looked a little weird. And now I think we're getting quickly to the point where people are gonna have to be very, very discerning about like where things are coming from, um, you know, if things are flagged, what the source is of it, and it's just gonna put more, like, I guess, more responsibility on us as consuming this information to know if it's true or not, right? And that's asking for a lot of people whose attentions are already like everywhere. So in the media realm of it's very interesting to follow because it's happening so quickly. And so it's, where our role has always been in terms of trying to make sure we're still reliable and credible and using it responsibly. But on the business end side function of it, I mean, the possibilities are like really interesting and creative in terms of what all it could be, being used for. And we see the companies around Wilmington too that, are embracing it, making it part of their business model and really growing because of it.
Yeah. I had a couple like aha moments this week. I had somebody turn in something to me and I was like almost not feeling like insufficient for a minute, but it was like this whole document. I was like, oh my gosh, how did they come up with all of this? And then later on, my husband was like, that was all chat. And I was like, are you kidding me? I mean, it was like an entire menu for our company.
Yeah.
But I thought this person had like spent hours researching and all of this. And I mean, I got fooled by it. And not that it wasn't great. I just didn't know how they had came up with it so fast and how the details of it. And and all that. And then the second one's like the whole Instagram account that was the AI girl. And she was at Wilmington, and like they did the whole tennis thing with her, and that was like the first one. Like she looked like an actual
Yeah.
person talking
I
to
mean, it's
us.
kind of wild. Yeah.
And I was like, this is going to be bad here
Yeah.
shortly. I was wondering too, in your field, with all the up and coming writers, do you think it's going to affect what you get presented?
Well, I think I mean, I've had, resumes come through and I'll run them through, an AI detector. I feel like for this profession in particular,
Right.
um, that they should be able to have their original thought in writing. So I do normally flag that. But it's interesting because the students that are going through, I mean, that's a whole nother, how is high schools and colleges, how they're having to contend with it and deal with that on papers and stuff as a whole, another thing that they're trying to figure out. So I think they're coming from that world where it's been heavily clamped down on pretty closely. So maybe they're not applying with it. But again, I'm not saying it's a bad thing overall. One thing that kind of I thought was interesting, someone said in terms of writers, that writers aren't going to be necessarily replaced by AI. Writers who don't know how to use AI correctly and responsibly might get replaced, So I
It's
think
a
it's
good
one of those
way to
things you
look at
can't
it.
really like bury your head in the sand on it. But yes, to be able to, at least for reporting and writing, um, uh, you still need them to be able to articulate them on your own. One thing that I've seen, like, so Vogue had kind of a discussion around, there was kind of a pushback a little bit. They had some ads that ran in Vogue with AI models, and it wasn't Vogue's photos, but it was
Really?
for one of the luxury brands. And I can't remember which one off the top of my head, but the models were actually AI models. And there was a label on there that said they were. But that brings up a whole other discussion, which is very interesting, having a lifestyle magazine that we publish. In terms of women's magazines, it's always been the discussion of, are we accurately portraying women and with style shoots and models and that. When I say we, I mean like all women's magazines. That's always been, I think, a discussion. So now you add the AI layer on top of that, and it's not just like is having high fashion models an accurate depiction of women, but now it's computer generated high fashion models. So how are we supposed to compete with that? So that's going to be, I think, an interesting question going forward, especially for young people that are growing up. They don't. This is
Yeah.
the digital natives generation. This is all they've ever known. So
It's going to be wild. Do
it's
you have
going
a
to be
prediction?
interesting. I think the pendulum swings all the time. Either way, I think it's going to end up having to course correct itself. I still think I think there'll be a tolerance level where people won't want to see too much of it in terms of media images and
Hmm.
whatnot. I think there will be some pushback on it. But I think like in terms of all the other stuff it's doing, which is like, the bulk of what we're seeing, not just the photos and videos. I mean, I think that's just the technology that's here now.
I agree with all. I mean, I'm kind of, yeah, I think even in what we were predicting, I think that it's probably on the back end already exceeded to where we think it's going to be, and we just don't know about it yet. But I'm sure that, uh, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how it goes. And I'm worried, not worried, but our kids growing up, how it's going to affect where the jobs and the industries. And so, but I think it could be okay too. I think if you can use it and be responsible, like you said, with it, I think that it's going to be huge. But I think if you're gonna rely on that for every thought that comes out and not challenge yourself, then you're gonna be in trouble later on to not have your own thoughts.
Yeah, and I think that's how maybe people they'll
We'll
start
see it.
differentiating. The images though, those are the scary things. I would not want to see myself, as an AI'd image doing
And
something dumb.
it's good. It's really good. I'm like, even with our food photos, it's hard to get a true peanut butter looking photo, or
Yeah.
that you're trying to. I mean, AI can generate the perfect peanut butter swirl,
Yeah.
so yeah, I mean, it's kind of in our industry too at the moment.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's an all. And I think there's it create so much efficiencies to where you are freed up to do much more important things, you know?
I just love I guess the analysis that it provides. Like you can just put in your competitors
Right.
and be
Yeah.
like, give me, what is common or what's, different, like how do we differ and all this. So I love all of that analysis, I guess, of it. So you don't have to deep dive and do all that,
Yeah.
but we'll see. All right. So what's next on the adventure? You're pretty much done with the Wilma stuff for the year, right? Or no? No?
I'll have to think about
Yeah,
that for a minute. We have so many like deadlines coming up.
Okay.
Our last issue of Wilma is actually out. Real quick, when does this air?
Next Monday.
Okay. Our last issue of Wilma came out last week.
Okay.
And every time we have an issue that comes out, we do kind of a fun social networking event. So
I gotta get on this list then.
yeah, so we did one at Highwire last week to kind of launch this one. So that's wrapped up for the year. For the Wilma leadership side, we have our graduation of our class. So Wilma's leadership initiative, we do a bunch of different things as part of that. One of them is like a mentoring program that you've been involved with, where we match mentors and mentees up for the year. One is our summer conference. We have speakers come in and workshops. One is tomorrow morning. I'm actually going over to UNCW. We do a board training session with them with Kino, and that helps women kind of get the basics of how to serve on a board of directors or a committee, or how to just get connected to serving locally if that's something that they want to do. But our biggest like cornerstone program is our institute. And that is the class that meets every year. So that's a class of 48 women. People apply, like so many more apply than we can have the capacity to take. And we always try to make it as large as we can. But that's as large as we've been able to make the class so that we have places to meet around town and different venues and different companies to meet at. But they'll actually graduate in December, this year's class. So they've been meeting since April.
So that's just whole business, or tell me about this class. I don't know all this stuff.
It's a lot. I know.
It's a lot.
So the leadership initiative overall is the mission is, to help women, empower women to meet their leadership goals.
Okay.
And so we recognize that is in different ways. It's not just one event or one program, because not everyone has the same amount of time that they can devote to this, right? That part of it. And not every person needs the same kind of training. So some of it is just pure networking. And then something like the Institute is a 9-month commitment, 9-month program. So the class meets once a month, every month, and we do it in different venues around town. So we've had sessions at Live Oak Bank's headquarters this year. Our next one we're going to is at Corning, which is really cool because then they get to go kind of tour
it.
the facility, which is it's this huge, plant that's on the side of the road when you come into town, but not everyone gets to see what they do there. At UNCW, at different places, so that they can kind of get an experience of different organizations. Oftentimes we'll invite their leadership teams in to come talk to the class. And so they'll meet every month. And part of the meeting is for a specific leadership skill session. So we've done like negotiation techniques, communication styles. We're capping it off with Lisa Brooks is talking about like self-care, preventing burnout. We feel like that's a good one to end on,
Yes. Let me know what the solution is.
Exactly. And then they also spend each meeting with their peer group, their peer advisory board, kind of like their own personal board of directors. So that group we match them up at the beginning of the year, beginning of the class, and they meet with them every month. And it's kind of a structured discussion where they're talking about things they have coming up or opportunities they have coming up. Maybe they want to pitch an idea, or maybe they have their annual review coming up. Maybe they're running a nonprofit, but
What's the age group for this program?
It's a bell curve. I think there's no age limit.
No age
It
limit.
really
Okay.
is a bell curve. So a lot of them are in their mid-careers and they're leading teams already. But then some of them are, just starting off here in Wilmington, but they have leadership aspirations. They want to be seen as a leader in the organization. And some have been, later career or higher exec level, and they're just trying to make connections, which they do. So yeah, so that's always been a very impactful.
Class graduating and a new class coming on.
Yep. So we have applications for next year's class will be open in December and January.
Okay.
And then we'll have a whole process, like people apply.
Is there any tips for anybody filling out the applications that you look for?
One thing I do always say is that, and I say this for the awards too, because I know it's awkward to like nominate yourself
So
for an
awkward.
award. That feels
I
a
didn't
little
nominate,
weird.
but it's so awkward. Like
I
filling
always
out the
recommend
paper.
people nominating themselves, especially for this program, for the Institute. I get it for the awards.
Yeah.
I don't think it dings you or, is anything bad in your favor when the judges see all the applications. I don't think it's held against you that you've nominated yourself. I think that is something that you people do to get, you have to get comfortable with about bragging about yourself. But we should, you work hard.
Right.
You
It's
get
just
it.
so awkward still.
But for the Institute, especially, people can nominate other people in the organization, people they think that would be good for it, or colleagues. But I think it's always stronger when it comes from yourself because you're talking about what you want to get out of it, why
Yeah.
you should be included. And again, we get a lot of applications, and I wish that we could include more. I really do. Just can't clone ourselves yet, and we can't find like big enough spaces to hold everybody yet. But that's always great. And when people are, detailed about what they want to get out of it, do some research about what it is. Like we have all the information on our website. We have lists of names of the graduates who've gone through. So maybe if people know somebody who's done it, they can kind of pick their brain, take them out to coffee and ask what it was like. Because that's the other thing. It's half a day once a month. So I get that that's a time commitment as well. But yeah, that's what I would do if I was trying to apply. I would try to go get coffee with someone who's gone through it and definitely do it myself. And we have an option on there. You can put a recommendation letter if you want from somebody else. Okay. It's optional. But yeah, so we have a board that goes through the hundreds of applications and they pick finalists, and the finalists actually do like 10-minute interviews with the board members, which can be very intimidating.
Gosh,
I've always
this is a
heard.
lot.
I know. But it's awesome because our board members that are on our advisory board are also, leaders of the community. So it's great because then they have another touch point. They've met someone who represents these different organizations. And so when they see them out again next time, they have like that personal connection. Mm-hmm. So yeah, so it does get a little involved, but I think that helps make for a real dynamic
And so
class.
you pick the next class in January for that.
Yeah, we'll close at the end of
As long as
January, and then after that, we'll start
And then
doing
you keep
the picking.
producing magazines every month.
4 times a year, every
4
quarter.
times.
Yep. So we do that.
You guys have a lot on your plate.
We like to stay busy. Yeah. We don't get bored. Just like you don't get bored.
I know, but I never see myself like that. Never get bored. But we hear other people like, okay, I'd have nothing to talk about, like, because you guys are just as busy as we are. So, but no, I love being a part. We're always with your WILMA Dash in October with the
That's
5K.
always a fun one too, right?
Super fun. I'm going to try to spruce it up this year. Try to get some, I always do the stretching in the beginning or the warm up.
Yep, I love that.
So I was trying
Always
to
do
get
that.
some half naked men on the stage this year because no one pays attention to me. They're always talking and networking. I'm like, I gotta get these women's attention.
I've never thought. I always have to make like some comments before we start. And you're right. It's kind of it's over 1,000 women that run it, right?
And this year was
it's a
your
big
record.
crowd.
You should be so
So
proud
I get
of
it.
that.
Try to get everyone's attention. I have not thought of that idea yet before, but
I'll approve it for you first. Make sure Rob doesn't get mad at us or anything. But I was like, okay, what can we do to spruce this up next year that gets everyone's attention? And then also being awarded the business woman to watch this year. So I was going to have you guys on the podcast before that. And I was like, oh, that's going to look
that would look weird, right?
Yeah, that would look so weird if you guys were on the podcast before the nominations. I'm like, I'm going to wait. And then
promise you earned it all on your own merit. Yeah. The board
to do it all. But
yeah. And we have a great team. I mean, we're a small team, small company, but it's a great team. Like none of this stuff that we do, it's all, I think it's fair to say it's pretty ambitious the year that we have, not just with WILMA, but think about the Business Journal side as well. And then Feast Wilmington, like all of it.
How about Feast too?
It's a committed crew. So if everybody wasn't pitching in, we wouldn't be able to do all this
get
fun
into
stuff.
Feast of Wilmington. Yeah. All right. So where do they find out all of this good information about you guys and how to get into these programs and how to even get involved or do all that?
The simplest answer is signing up for Wilma's emails. And if you go to our website, which is wilmamag.com, it says, receive emails here. And it's not an avalanche of them, and there's no cost with it. It's not a subscription. But that's where we send out not just our Wilma stories, but also these announcements, like when applications open up or when the next Elevate and Celebrate is, the next get together, and just the program updates and announcements. And all, again, the women's leadership programs, they have varying levels of time commitment and also varying levels of fees. They range from, there's no cost to participate. We're doing this as part of our mission. And because we have sponsors, business and corporate sponsors from around town who are supporting this mission.
That's amazing.
So some of it's no fee up to the tuition of the institute class. So, I mean, I feel like there's no shortage or ways to get involved if people want to.
Yeah. I mean, super amount of resources, and just in this alone. I didn't know that you guys did all this. I'm so happy you came on to here today so I could hear just a little bit about, I'm sure we didn't even touch some of it too, right?
I mean, there's probably more, yes, that we do, but
part 2.
But I mean, I think the main overarching message in everything we do is we're very big on providing connections. I mean, it's been cool to see just after 10 years, where a lot of these women have gone, how many people we've connected within Wilmington that know each other through Wilma. As you know, like some of the women that you've met with the awards,
right,
that you'll now know then hopefully will be professional contacts now for the time to come.
It's just huge networking.
Yeah. And then just to see how much that's grown over a decade, I think was what was most meaningful to Maggie, myself, and the rest of the team as well, everyone that works at Wilma. But just to see the sheer size of really what like everyone else created, we always say, and it's not like being falsely humble. We put the framework out there and we put these opportunities out there, but like all the energy and all the connections that have been made have really been like all the women like you guys that have come through and paying it forward and agreeing to mentor and introducing someone else who's new to town to something. I mean, that's really where I think like all the magic has happened.
No, and I think our community is so supportive, and I love Wilmington for that. So, final thoughts?
Just, I guess not to be cheesy, but I do want to thank like everyone that's helped make the anniversary year what it is, to take time to, take a step back and just kind of reflect on what we've accomplished together, not just us, but everyone else too. And then, we're excited about next year too. We might be overly ambitious, but we're also never short of ideas, I guess.
Know that feeling too. Yeah.
A little crazed sometimes, but fun. So next year, my hope is to continue to find other ways to meet women where they are.
That you're gonna say what you're thinking about?
Oh, I haven't got it yet.
She's like, I'm just trying to get through this year. I got it.
But I guess that's the other thing too. We're always open for ideas. Also, or if other people have opportunities or things that they think would be a good idea, just to let us know. I feel like we're very accessible. We're always out and about. So,
well, thank you for coming on here
Thank
today.
you
I learned
for having
so
me.
much. It was we connected a couple times. I couldn't get it, but we finally got it on the calendar today, and we're here. So love it.
It was a perfect break.
And if you're looking to connect with me, to go to my Instagram at Yvonne Verity, or Facebook, same one, and download this on Shopify. Oh my gosh, Spotify, Apple, YouTube, all the good things. And also check out V&V Farms if you're looking for a cool wedding event or a special event that's coming up. See you guys.